Achievements and trophies have proven to be a real mixed bag. On the one hand, they're a great way to encourage players to try new things in their favourite games, experiment with modes, equipment, side quests, and ways of playing that they might have missed otherwise. On the other, they can be unimaginative, grindy, or just inconvenient and punishing in a myriad of ways. Still, each game's list is unique, and any part of the design can trigger a trophy or achievement pop right there and then. For the most part, they're tied to overcoming something, like a boss or completing a no-death run, but what about the ones that everybody should have? The gimmies that encourage you to keep going that you'd think would have 100% acquisition rates. Well, as we found combing PSN profiles data for PlayStation users, there's no such thing as a 100% complete trophy, no matter how easy the task. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video game trophies we can't believe people don't have. Also note, trophy data changes daily, but these numbers were accurate at time of recording. Number 10, Taking Names, CUPHEAD. Completion rate, 92.46%. CUPHEAD is first and foremost a brutally difficult boss rush molded into a full game. Some light run and gun stages are sprinkled throughout, but this is what you're signing up for. Thankfully, the devs don't batter you mercilessly right off the bat, and things only get infuriating around the time of Jimmy the Great or Grim Matchstick. The latter in particular almost made me break my controller. Nonetheless, the Taking Names trophy is rewarded for defeating any boss on any difficulty, although it comes in at just 92.46% unlock rate, meaning that some people began CUPHEAD all fired up and ready to go, only to never get past a single foe. Ouch. Number 9, Doomsday, Doom Eternal. Completion rate, 93.36%. With the Doom franchise, players always know exactly what they're getting themselves into. A relentless assault of intense music, intense action, intense finishing moves, and general intensity all around. Unless you're playing Doom 3. It's clear the game isn't letting up in this regard. To champion you along and welcome you to the best first-person shooter gameplay it'd have ever conceived, completing this first level nets you the Doomsday achievement. However, it seems 6.64% of us just couldn't get past this glorified tutorial. Oh my god, the amount of game they missed out on. Number 8, First Escape, Resident Evil 3. Completion rate, 97.76%. Okay, this I cannot believe. I know that 97% is one of the highest rates on this whole list, but First Escape is awarded for getting out of the room you're in at the very beginning. Who the hell booted this up and couldn't even play for 5 minutes? Now look, I get it, maybe you guys don't love scouring this sort of data like me, but as Resident Evil 3 sold 9.5 million copies and counting, that's 212,800 people who booted the game up and immediately left to do something else. RE3 also had a premium price tag too, just how? Thankfully for those who stuck around, RE3's remake was a solid enough horror shooter with a great Nemesis redesign and a super short runtime if you want to complete it in an afternoon. Just make sure you get past that first room. Number 7, Point of No Return, Ghost of Tsushima. Completion rate, 92.81%. Sucker Punch's recent smash Ghost of Tsushima follows in the footsteps of great open world titles like Breath of the Wild and The Witcher 3. Focusing on the mantra of choice, this is rooted through a story that sees Samurai Jin resorting to increasingly dishonorable methods to save the island of Tsushima, and how he's viewed through the eyes of the Shogun and his uncle versus the people he's actually saving. It's now in my top 3 of 2020, and although the open world itself is phenomenal, Sucker Punch wrote one hell of a story to go alongside. To that end, you only need to complete the first main mission, the Warrior's Code, to get the Point of No Return trophy. It seems that a good 7% of players though were way too enamored with photo modes or exploration that the second they could break away from the campaign, they never came back. Number 6, Tinkerer, The Last of Us Part 2. Completion rate 97.12%. The Last of Us 2 is grim AF, but does have a takeaway message of philanthropy, caring, and choosing to live your life rather than dedicate what time you have left on this earth to cycles of revenge. Combat was lightly touched up to allow for aerial kills, snappy stealth, and the chaining together of whatever animations you fancied, and a pretty great crafting system fleshed out Ellie and Abby's repertoire alongside. However, maybe you're just one of those gamers that bounces right off crafting systems, as a couple % of people just didn't acquire a single upgrade whatsoever. Number 5, Welcome to Halcyon, The Outer Worlds. Completion rate 98.9%. We're so close to 100%, and this really should be, as this trophy pops from landing on your first planet. Something Outer Worlds makes you do as part of its opening cutscene. This literally means that people turned the game on, got onto the menus, enough for their gamer tags to register Outer Worlds as something they were playing, and then quit out before the opening cutscene had finished. I mean, that is some next level priority switching. At least Resident Evil 3's players had to wander around Jill Valentine's apartment for a few minutes. What the hell went wrong here? Number 4, ONETIME gig. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Completion rate 97.48%. Final Fantasy VII is among the most influential video games in industry history. The title that introduced the JRPG genre to the West and defined the childhood of many of today's gamers, including myself. However you feel about the remake and the unknown amount of time it'll take for the next installment in its multi-part story to roll out, it seems that some people preemptively gave up somewhere in the first chapter. The trophy ONETIME gig pops incredibly early on and is awarded for completing Final Fantasy VII Remake's first chapter. 97.48% of players saw some of the best stuff this game has to offer, but never got the trophy. I mean, yes, the Red Scorpion is annoying and that fight goes on a bit, but you could have at least defeated him to bank that progress first. Number 3, IUDEX GUNDYR, Dark Souls 3. Completion rate 94.54%. Where Dark Souls 1 practically set you up for an aerial attack on the Asylum Demon, therefore whittling its health down to half and giving you a boost, old Dexy here mutates halfway through the fight and is a right old bell to take down. Whilst nothing on the Nameless King or posing that much of a threat to Souls veterans, some 5.46% of players never saw the rest of what is otherwise the second best Souls game of them all. Number 2, To Greener Pastures, Red Dead Redemption 2. Completion rate 65.9%. Red Dead Redemption 2's trophy percentages tend to drop off the more you look through its chapters. Such is the hushed whisper truth that not that many of us actually wanted to see its belabored story through. I'll not tell anybody if you don't. As you probably noted even from this percentage though, even the trophy that pops when Red Dead 2's story really starts to take hold was only achieved by 2/3 of the player base on PS4. That is pretty insane, but in reality Red Dead 2's intro and its first couple of chapters do ask a lot of the average consumer. If they bought this GTA with horses cowboy game only to undergo a few hours of walking in the snow and getting lost and acquiring cash for the camp before anything's really propelling the narrative, I can kinda see why people would throw in the towel. To Greener Pastures unlocks after the mission A Strange Kindness, which closes out chapter 2, leading into the best chapter in the game and the point where a lot of people make a save so that they can return when everybody's still alive and the game is at its best. It's just a shame that around 34% of players will never even see this. And number 1, Off the Plane, GTA Online. Completion rate 75.7%. Now this is fascinating for a couple of reasons. First up is the most obvious, how shocking it is that 25% of players didn't get past the opening customization of their character and the tutorial in the opening moments of GTA Online. Second though is we pretty much have a stat for how many people choose to play GTA 5 as an offline story-based game, never visiting online. It's no wonder Rockstar have continued to plug heists, business ownership, and all manner of content packs into this mode. With lifetime sales of over 130 million copies, that's 97,500,000 people who've at least given GTA Online a try. The remaining 32,500,000 are content with GTA as it was before GTA 4, but you can see pretty clearly why Rockstar canned their single player content to focus on what most people responded to. Whilst personally I was in that first wave of people playing back in 2013, and I drastically prefer my GTA old school, GTA Online continues to thrive and GTA 5 continues to sell. 6 years after launching on PS4 though, it's remarkable that almost an entire quarter of the entire GTA fanbase has no interest in GTA Online. And those are just 10 trophies with incredibly high percentage rates that somehow are not 100%. Let me know your own favourites down in the comments below, and please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast we upload on Tuesday and Friday. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.